CFB Paint back again. Week 8 recap, Week 9 look ahead. One of the things that we were looking at in our household was a pumpkin patch this week. So not as much college football was taken in this go around. And it seemed like there were some wild games. There's I guess 4 of the top 10 lost. Now I still caught a fair amount of those games because Miami played on Friday night, so I did see that one.
That's helpful, yeah.
But yeah, I don't know if you had a spot where you wanted to start, or we can jump right into.
Let's start Friday night.
Okay. Well, 2024, Carson Beck must have got his hands on a DeLorean from Doc, because 2023 was here most of 2025, and 2024 showed up just this week. Got the 1.21 gigawatts of power, and he got it to 88 miles an hour, and now he's here and threw 4 interceptions. Just you turn the ball over a million times. Louisville jumped on you. They had a good plan from the beginning, scored on their first 2 possessions, and didn't really have too much more going on the rest of the game. But Jeff Brom is the king of that, just scheming it up. Sorry, did you have a thought there? I didn't mean to talk over you.
I was saying Miami was always within striking distance, but just couldn't quite put themselves in the game, like take the lead. I mean, you had I think it was a 14-0 lead, but then Miami gets 14-10, 14 or 17-10. Like they're right there for a quarter and a half, and they just couldn't do anything. It's it's interceptions, it's punts, and actually most of those turnovers weren't until later in the game too. So.
Yeah, I'm gonna go back and do a little bit of math, but Miami has a pretty rough record out of bye weeks over like the last 5 or 6 years.
Oh, I believe that.
So they're 1-1 this year. I guess they were 2-0 last year. 2-0 last year, including a win off of a bye week facing Louisville on the road. So they accomplished this feat on the road against the Cardinals last year. So let's see, that's 3-1. Let me jump back to 23. But they're famous for it. Okay, so 23, their bye week, they lose to Georgia Tech. So that's 3-2 over the last 3 years. 2022, lost to North Carolina off a bye week. 2021, so they're 3-3 off bye weeks. 2021 bye week, lose to North Carolina. Yeah, okay. So it goes back multiple coaching staffs, but they have historically struggled coming off of a bye week. I don't know why that is. It's so funny that that's the case.
You can do 2020. They lost to Clemson and Oklahoma State. If you want to count Oklahoma State in the bowl game, you want to go 2019. They lost to North Carolina, and then lost to Va Tech. And then if lost their bowl game, like if you want to count bowl games, the
bowl games that gets really rough because they haven't won a bowl game or they're like 2-19 in their last 21 bowl games.
Yeah.
But yeah, all that to say,
they've won 2.
All that to say, like I don't know why that's something that's been an issue. Maybe seemingly they got over the hump last year, but it rears its ugly head once again here.
It's Miami, man.
Yeah. Yeah, it's true. Now I'm picking up what you just mined. So it took me a minute, but yes, okay. So disappointing from the Hurricanes. Again, I'm not going to overreact to this. I don't think you're
still
sweating it.
They still win the ACC.
I think so. You lose another one though, and it might be problematic.
Why would it be problematic? You're still going to make the ACC championship potentially. Let's see. I'm looking at who you got. You got what? Georgia Tech that you're worried about, and then
I'm just saying they may get boxed out of the title game because with that loss to Louisville, Georgia Tech and Virginia both have the tiebreaker over them. They don't play them, so you lose again, you're out of the ACC championship game almost certainly. And at 10-2, I don't know if they're getting an at-large. That win over Notre Dame is going to be really important. So, anyway, all that to say, I'm not freaking out just yet. But I mean, if it does happen, if they somehow find a way to lose the playoffs, I mean, you're not firing Chris Ball, number one, because he's brought the program back. But that narrative of him not being able to get over the hump at Oregon, at
Continues to
Miami,
grow.
yeah,
Yeah.
that starts to grow a little bit louder. So,
And especially if you lose one of these ones, because you're Stanford, you're SMU, which is good because SMU's undefeated in the ACC, and that'll be a good head if you can win that game. But if you lose one to
yeah,
Syracuse or NC State or Vodtech or Pitt, you're
Pitt is the only one I hear that it's like, oh, maybe they'll give him a challenge. It's on the road at Pitt.
yeah,
It's the very end of the year. That freshman quarterback's looked
yeah,
pretty good, but give him a few more games to put some weaknesses on tape, and we'll see if he keeps it going. But so far, he's
yeah.
been great. Um, but yeah, so yeah, disappointing for the Hurricanes. I Was there anything else on Friday night that you wanted to cover, or any
Uh,
other angles on that game? How
no,
about TJ Capers, the guy who made that super athletic interception at the end to sort of seal the deal? Miami
yeah.
native, like good for him.
I was gonna say I think this weekend kind of showed a little bit about why Georgia pushed back out and went with Stockton. Because when the game was on the line against Ole Miss, he balled out. To be frank,
Oh,
and then
good
if you
point.
go back to the game, what game was it where they were in trouble and he hits the 4th and 16 to win the game? Georgia does.
Tennessee, yeah,
Yeah, he's had some. I mean, Bama wasn't as good, but he's had some really clutch moments, and we've seen Beck kind of struggle in those little bit clutch moments. So we'll see.
yeah. Oh, that's a good point. I hadn't even thought about it through that lens, but yeah, he's delivered. Has Connor Stockton in those critical moments
Yeah,
every time so far. I guess yeah, with the Alabama game, maybe they didn't quite get over the hump. You could also say Kirby could have kicked a field goal and tied the game. Anyway, um,
yeah.
sorry, I navigated away from the
No, we had UNC
scores.
California. We have had our eyes on just to see how
Oh,
Belichick's team would do, but Belichick's team actually was in this game, so
yeah, yeah, good for them.
I didn't watch a ton, but I was just surprised score watching. But yeah, then I don't know if you want to jump into Saturday. If what any games that you particularly watched on Saturday that were interesting to you?
Let's see that noon slate. I didn't catch much of, so I don't know if you had anything in the noon slate you wanted to talk
The way
through.
you go, I never go at it based off of like, oh, what happened at what time. So I always used to go like, what games did I see? So
Okay.
like, yeah, or I like go through the top 10 or top 25 and be like, oh yeah, I caught that game. Oh yeah, I didn't catch that game. So I don't go through it noon slate versus whatever else. I know I watched football then, but I couldn't tell you what game I was watching.
Yeah, I didn't catch either of those. I got the first half of Ole Miss Georgia, and then I don't know what I was doing the rest of the day or where I kind of stepped away from that. But
Back and forth affair until Georgia put the clamps on towards the
yeah,
end.
fourth quarter,
Like
17-0.
and the fact that Georgia scored, I think it was like 8 straight possessions. That's an unreal stat. Like that they've never done that before, but also that they did that, and that's what they took to win that game a little bit. Um, I don't know. That was a fun game. I felt like that. Like in the third quarter, you felt like Ole Miss was going to win this game. It was like, all right, they kind of checked them. They put them in position to be successful. I think they went up by 10 at one point in time, and Georgia just roared back. It's kind of sucks. Although watching that game, I was like, the Ole Miss quarterback. I want that if I'm an NFL coach or player or whatever at GM, I want Trinidad Chambliss as a quarterback. I'm impressed with him. I know it's early. I think he can continue to grow, and like the mobility on top of the good decisions, I'd be happy with. So I mean, he's put some balls in some places, and his receivers made some great catches. But like that ball is in the right place where it's not going to get picked off, and it gives his receiver a chance a bunch of times. And so that was my takeaway from there. I was like, dude, that kid's an NFL quarterback.
Ferris State last year, like just
Yeah,
wild. That's
yeah,
yeah. I was gonna say I
yeah,
don't know if I had any more on that game. Just say, Ole Miss's defense may end up costing them some games. It's
yeah. I mean,
almost cost them a couple of them.
Ole Miss runs into a little bit of a hard part of the schedule. Well, a little bit of the hard part of the schedule. The hard part of the schedule. They got through LSU, which was They got through Georgia, but they also take on Oklahoma this week, which makes it rough for them. After that, though, if you beat Oklahoma, you should win out.
Yeah, you're pretty smooth sailing after that.
I mean, it's never smooth sailing in the SEC, perfectly smooth, but you should be favored in all these games.
Agreed.
Yeah.
Agreed.
Um, Other games I caught. I'll just go into games I caught then.
Yeah, go for it.
Um, I watched that one. I watched, of course, I watched the BYU Utah game. I watched the Florida State game. I got eyes on the Notre Dame game, which was a little bit of a back and forth affair, but Notre Dame's running offense was just impressive. And Jeremiah Love, man, like 228 yards, like, and that's not including like anything else that he did. Didn't he have like a insane return? Oh no, I'm thinking of
Was that
Jadarian
him or was
Price.
it
Yeah,
Jadarian Price?
Jadarian Price.
They have two
Like
excellent running backs.
the other running back. Yeah, I mean,
Yeah.
like, I'm talking about like your running backs put over 400 yards or over 500 all-purpose yards because I'm like between the two of them they had 350 rushing yards and 90 almost 100 receiving yards, and then on top of that you had 115 kick returning yards. They were just crushing it. It was just like, oh my gosh. Um, I don't know. That Notre Dame team looks ferocious, and they look like they're trying to get themselves back into the playoff.
They have to, right? Like
Yeah,
I think they have to win things, and
this the only way that this game. I said last week it felt like it was a lose lose for Notre Dame. It's like, hey, you beat USC, you're kind of supposed to beat USC, but you don't beat USC. This is an issue, and USC is not gonna get as much credit for this game because Notre Dame's already lost two games. But the impressive fashion of how you were just able to get physical. You've shown that you can be in games with CJ Carr at the helm and having to pass the ball, but you now also shown that you can get in games in where it's like, hey, I need to run this ball around I throw, and that has been impressive. And so I thought this was a no-win situation, but it felt like a very much like a, oh, okay, wow, I'll give you some props for that game. So, um, I had eyes on the Arizona State Texas Tech game just because it was way closer than I expected. I didn't really watch. I had on the side television. I didn't watch it directly a ton. And then Bama Tennessee. If I'm a Tennessee fan, I'm so mad about the end of that. The end of that second half, where Tennessee's going in to score and then throws the pick, and Alabama runs it all the way back for the touchdown. Like, that's a 14-point swing. You could have been down 16-14, 16-15, depending on what you went for there. And now you're down 23-7 to start the second or third quarter. Like,
yeah,
that's a significant hole. And that's frustrating because it's a play action with a play to the flat, and if you don't look at it quickly enough, and the cornerback sees those balls, that's when it's dangerous when you're on the goal line. If you throw the ball and the cornerback jumps on it in the flat, it's hard to catch them sometimes. That was really the turning point there. And then I watched a little bit of the LSU Vanderbilt game. And play of the game, in my opinion, Diego Pavia, was it 4th and 1? I'm not going to remember this. I remember when it happened exactly. I want to say third quarter. Maybe I'm wrong on that. Diego Pavia, like, fakes the handoff, turns, and there's like a player right there. I think it's one of the Weeks boys, and he like kind of jukes back and forth, and then throws it off to the left, and there's his running back or out of the flat, and he catches it for a first down, and it was just a gutsy play, a great play on his part, and led them to kind of just break the spirit of LSU. It felt like I want to say that's in the third quarter when it's 31-21. Sorry, when it's 24-21. But maybe I'm wrong on that. I'm looking that up. Yeah. 24. LSU had just scored, and it made it 24-21. So they were in it, and Diego does this it's about the midfield, and it goes on to score a touchdown, and that was the straw that broke the camel's back. Honestly, I feel like a lot of times I've watched a lot of games this year, especially this week, but also this year, where it's like a few plays at critical moments were the difference. I mean, you go to the BYU Utah game, if we want to jump into that game. Some
we
small decisions on certain points, 4th downs. I mean, Utah outgains BYU and outplays BYU from an offensive perspective, but BYU plays 4th downs insanely well in that game.
we
And
might have a different take on that, but
Utah moved the ball considerably well, and they made bad decisions on kicking the field goal. And I know that they don't have as good a kicker, but like if you look at the box score, you'll be like, oh, I'm a little surprised based off minus the one interception. I think is probably what happened off the top of my head, but.
yeah. So I think a quick glance at that would say, okay, the turnovers were the difference, like which is not entirely incorrect, but I felt like number one, a lot of like what was it, an 80-yard drive with like a minute and a half left that Utah had to get within a score, and it's like okay, BYU wouldn't want to surrender it that fast, but they were fine surrendering all of that yardage, right? So it's like that one to me is.
Are you talking about at the end?
Yeah.
Yeah, and I'm not. I mean, minus
Well, I'm
that,
saying
they still
take that off,
if you take
and
77 yards, and they still were well above BYU in terms of stats. Like it's 100 yards difference, right? And that's a 70-yard drive. I'm looking at like my thought process behind this is, you look at Bear Bachmeyer and his his completion percentage. It's not super high. I don't know what it is off the top of my head, but it's close to 50%. It's maybe 60%. But then you look at Devin Dampier, it's probably a little bit higher. Although Bear Bachmeyer got screwed by some drops by his receivers. I'm 100% going to be real on that. And then the yards per carry, like Utah had better yards per carry, 6.1 to 4.8. To me, it was the difference wasn't necessarily the interceptions. Or maybe not the. I wouldn't say that to me the difference wasn't necessarily the turnovers, but it was the bad decisions. Now I get that they were down by 10, but if you'd kicked a field goal earlier on, you would put yourself in better positions to be successful. And that I think they did it twice to themselves, where they weren't willing to kick the field goal. And once it's
yeah,
where it's like a chip shot, and once it's a little bit longer, which I understand it's a little bit longer. It's like a 40-yarder,
the
but
the
still.
the 4th and 3 to me is the more egregious decision. The 4th and 1 early in the game, like I get going for it. I do think there's like, and Kyle Whittingham, I don't know if you watched his post game presser. He's like, oh yeah, the analytics say go for it, so we were well within it both times to go for it, and I don't disagree, right? Like, but part of the analytics should be like, okay, what's the expected output of both of our teams, right? And like I said before the game, I expected this to be a low scoring game. I was on the under. I thought it was way going to be really easy under, and then it got a little wild late. But I think there's that calculation you have to make too, right? Like I don't know how many points I need, but I know how many points my defense will probably not give up, right? Like I know that they probably won't give up any more than X. So if it's a race to 24, maybe I just take these three. To me, the reason the 4th and 3 is more egregious, not just because it's 4th and 3, it's because it's one later in the game. Two, you have evidence that says like, hey, they're stopping our traditional run game pretty well. Like
Yeah,
you can
and
say
you can
that
tie the
yards per
game up.
rush,
That's
but like
exactly what I thought.
like, I understand the yards per play, but those mostly came on like 4 carries. Like Daniel Bray had a rush
Yeah,
of
he had the one on the
49,
left.
and then it wasn't, again, it was on a reverse, right, or a jet sweep. Like it wasn't
Yeah,
like a traditional run the ball. Like I think in the trenches, BYU actually beat Utah. Like
yeah,
I
and
felt
that's I
that.
would agree with that. BYU, we did not expect BYU to be able to get pressure. They were showed that they could get pressure, and then they showed that they could hold up in the middle on the run. I felt like they were being successful is when they would get Dampier out on the sides and make him run. They were a little hesitant to do that. If you watch, they would pull in their like their other quarterback, and once their other quarterback, I think it's like Ficklin, would come in. You knew
Bird
it was like,
Ficklin,
oh
yeah.
yeah, here it's coming quarterback run. Although he passed the ball okay in their last game, um,
He's going to be a good
but
player.
kind of
He's going to be
yeah,
really
yeah,
good.
yeah. Like he looked impressive. Was it last week, 2 weeks ago when he got to play for a little bit?
Mm-hmm.
Um, but to me, it's the fourth downs. You go for it on 4th and 7, 4th and 1, 4th and 3, like, and you can't convert a single one, and that's where the game was lost for you. You go 1 through 5 in the whole game. Like that's That's awful. That's way worse than a punt because now you're losing 25, 30, 40, 50 yards of field of turnover on the field. And BYU is not they have not proven themselves to be a I can go down and drive on you kind of team. Now every now and then it's popped up, but it hasn't been consistent. It's been mostly it's 3 and out and then pop a big play. Now we have seen one sometimes late in games, the last 2 or 3 games, where they've decided we're going to run the ball and we're not going to do anything but run the ball. And because we've done that, we can push on you. But throughout the rest of the game, I mean, there's how many 3 and outs did BYU have? Probably quite a few. Let's see, I'm looking 5 and out. Maybe not 3 and out. Yeah, 1, 2, 3. So there are 3 3 and outs, and then there's, 4, 5 plays and outs. Like, and actually, if you go 6, there's six drives that are 6 and out. So, or no, I'm messing my maybe I think it's only 5, but yeah, it's a boom or bust team. Though they're going to get either score quickly or they're not going to score quickly. You very rarely see a 10-play drive by this team. I mean, if you look at it, it's 5 plays, punt, 8 plays, downs, 6 plays, touchdown, 3 plays, punt, 3 plays, punt, 10 plays, there's your long one, field goal. But it's only 33 yards. So, whatever, 3 plays, punt, 10 plays, punt, 5 plays, touchdown, 8 plays, touchdown. They do score oftentimes from way far out. That's what they devise themselves to kind of have somebody schemed open. Now, also on this game, I think it could have gone the other way where had you not had some key drops, BYU could have blown this game open a little bit more.
Yes. The opening possession of the third quarter, I think it's the first play of the second half. Something like that.
You're talking about the Chase Roberts pick or miss over the middle? Yeah.
No, it's the Parker Kingston. Sorry, it's not the first play of the second half. It's the first play of their possession. So they force a 3 and out on Utah receives the second half kickoff, force a 3 and out. You're up 10-7, and it's an incomplete pass to Parker Kingston. It's like a 17-yard, give or take. Like that's me going off my memory. It's beyond a first down. He is open. He will catch it. And I'm not sure if he's going to get tackled on the spot. There's a defensive back behind him. Wasn't like crazy far behind him, but he just doesn't look in the pass. And he might be running for a bit, but he also might have been tackled. Even if he's tackled right then, it's like, okay, your first play is I'm going to call it like, maybe let's be conservative. Say it was about a 14-yard possession. And again, you started at the 41. So that would have put you close to field goal range just with your very first play if he catches it. And then instead it turns into a 3 and out. Like, so it's there, and they've had some challenges with some of their veteran guys dropping the football all season. Like, and I think we've talked about this, but like, Chase Roberts has had a couple of drops. Carson Ryan's had a couple of drops. Parker Kingston's had a couple of drops. It really is like, I have looked at their games when they've been closer games for the most part. Like when you're starting to get, as a BYU fan, you're starting to feel a little nervous. It's like, Bear's not the reason we're in this situation. He's been really good. Just a quick like update. Yeah, again, I would say he outplayed Devin Dampier in this game. He did have, I checked, you kind of mentioned some of the stats. He didn't throw for as many, and that part's true. He was more efficient, right? So he was a 59% completion versus 55.5 for Devin Dampier. A 7.5 yards per attempt, which is not good.
Yeah,
but again, further downfield than him, and he didn't turn the ball over.
And then that's one of the things BYU does. BYU does take shots downfield, and so that results in that. But if you're talking about like him in particular, I mean, he had one game where he had 2 interceptions in that game, and that was a little rough for him. But on the whole, I feel like he's had a good year. I think it was what?
Yeah, I mean, he's 5-time
against Arizona. Yeah.
5-time conference offensive freshman of the week or something like that. So it's basically become the Bear Bachmeier Award. So
yeah, like I'd say you struggled a little bit against Stanford because you got sacked a bit, and then you struggled against Arizona a little bit because you got picked off twice.
True.
But on the whole, they haven't. You go 9-3 in any time for touchdown to interception ratio, and that's not including his running touchdowns, which is another part of him. That's a good solid ratio. So,
I think so.
And the 24-21 game is not as close as it should not have been as close as it was. Let's be real. Like you could have bowed up a little bit more on that last drive and made this a real
Well,
win.
I mean, there's like basically a simultaneous possession catch, right? So the one down the
Yeah, I
sideline.
watched that catch multiple times, and I'm like, oh, I don't even feel like it was simultaneous possession very much. I felt like Utah caught it, and the guy BYU tried to
Oh,
pull
he
it
touched
off.
it first. No.
Yeah, I don't care if you touch it first. I don't think he caught it. That's what I'm
Right.
saying.
Well, I didn't
Yeah.
say he caught it. I said it was simultaneous possession, which goes to the offense, and it's just like that to
Yeah.
me is like you're in the perfect position to do that. You just got out muscled for it. Like,
Yes, you
could,
did. Yeah.
so I mean, to me, it was like there were fractions of seconds or inches away from this game result being kind of wild swings, right? Like if you don't have an interception called back on Utah, which was the right call for the record, but like calls get missed. If they miss that one,
Yeah,
who knows how the game turns on that one.
that's true.
But that was the other one that you potentially could
And
have
then
really
even
sealed the deal.
the freak late hit from or freak roughing the passer a little bit. Like you don't expect the quarterback's head to be down like that when he is, and also because Bear Bachmeyer runs a little bit more kind of like a fullback, and he runs down, and he flips it up forward, and I mean I don't think that was an egregious hit. I don't think it was a dirty hit at all. It was just unfortunate that you put your head down and caught
Oh,
the
I thought he
passer.
could have pulled up. I thought he could have pulled up. Again, yeah, where it got placed is like, all right, maybe that's a function of him being, I think, 6'5" and Bear being 6'2" on a good day, 6'1.5". But he definitely hit him on purpose late. Like,
I don't think he hit him late on purpose. I think he hit him because you want to hit a quarterback, but I don't think it was a dirty play at all.
oh,
So
but I think that the late hit was warranted. Like that flag, regardless targeting, set that aside. I think it was a late
no,
hit.
okay. Roughing the passer, yeah, I don't know if I agree with it. It was late hit, but they can't review that either. So
I've got just a shout out to my boy Zach who chimes in here and there. He wanted this read on the pod, and I figure he's got some analysis, whatever. Like I
okay,
actually
go
tend to
ahead.
agree with some of it too. All right, he said after sleeping on last night's result and thinking more about the game, I think BYU and Utah are two evenly matched good teams. Both are flawed. The home environment helped BYU to expose some of Utah's weaknesses more effectively than Utah would have hoped to expose BYU's. Down to down, Utah moved the ball on BYU. Their offense is like an old beater of a car. I actually really like this analogy. Listen to this. It's like an old beater of a car. If you can get it to start, it'll keep running, but you're just not sure if it'll start every time you need it to. Which to me, yeah, like they were either 3-and-outs or they kind of kept chugging along. Um,
Yeah,
Utah had multiple impressive drives where they got rolling and moved the ball 80 plus yards. When Dampier has you guessing and on your heels, that offense is dangerous. But the game flow felt more in BYU's direction because BYU is proving it could do things that people weren't sure they were going to be able to do, run between the tackles. That was my thought too. I felt like I had this game nailed. Just kind of I'm breaking away from his analysis real quick, but like I mentioned, like running specifically right at them. At one point, they put a graphic on the screen where it's like, hey, there's been like 3 rushes to the left, and it's X number of yards, and it was like a paltry, I can't remember, it was like 17 or something. To the right, something similar to that. In the middle, they ran it 22 times for 91 yards at that point in the game. And it was like, okay, yes, they figured they can run right at Utah and had an
yeah,
advantage between the guard, like basically guard, center, guard versus Utah's defensive tackles. BYU won that matchup. Um,
yeah.
Ut-
I'd say I think where it also surprised us is BYU's hold up on the other side too, right
I
in
mean,
the middle.
yeah,
BYU being able to their rush defense was surprising.
yeah. I would have.
He,
Sorry, go ahead.
well, he just made the comment. Like there's some things that we didn't expect BYU to do, and I think that would be one of them. Like
I
I didn't expect
absolutely
BYU to
agree.
be held up as well.
The final thing he said, like BYU won the game, yeah, with the critical stops on 3 4th downs, recovering a muff punt. Utah converts those 4th downs or cashes on with field goals. If they cleanly field that punt, it may have been a different result. And he's like spinning forward. It's like BYU. He's like they continue to impress, but he's concerned that they rely too heavily on LJ and Bear carrying the whole load running the football.
2 weeks in a row, it's been that way. Yeah,
Yeah, they've had to, and this time I think you did it because you could, right? Last time against Arizona, I think you did it because you had to. This year,
yeah,
or this game, you did it because you could. But he mentioned if you can sneak out of Ames, Iowa with a win this next week, Sione Moa gets healthy. That's the problem is they're thin at running back.
we
Moa, if
talked about
he's
that. Yeah,
back, after the bye week and against Texas Tech, they can potentially be in Arlington for the conference championship game. I mean, they're still in the heart of it. That was the first tough test, but they passed it, so good for them.
And be honest, like I think that's true. This BYU team has for 2 years scraped wins by the skin of their teeth on some things, and not that this one was a scraped win by the skin of their teeth, but like a few key plays. You look at Arizona, that was a few key plays. You look at last year when they won a game by a field goal or a game by
Like 17 seconds left to go ahead touchdown. Yeah,
they've been the cardiac Cougars for a few years, and whenever it hits them, whenever reality hits, it's going to be a little bit rough. You've gotten through the hard parts of not the hard parts. You've gotten through the start of the heart of the schedule, right? We knew Arizona was going to be hard. We knew Utah was going to be hard. You still have to go to Ames. You still have to go against Texas Tech. If you lose both of those, you're probably out of the Big 12 championship. If you get one of them, you still got a shot. I think.
I think you could lose both of them. Like, assuming you don't lose any others, right?
But I'm not assuming that. What I'm sitting there saying is Cincinnati's a good team. They're undefeated, right?
That's undefeated in conference, yeah.
And
but they're susceptible to the run is the thing. Like we'll get to that game in a few weeks, but like Cincinnati they'll let you run on. Or excuse me, I'm getting that mixed up. Iowa State's the one you can run on.
Oh, what I'm saying is if you have a problem and if you lose both of these, you're probably not going to have a chance to get to the Big 12. You may be able to squeak in there, but like Texas Tech would hold the tiebreaker over you, and they'd have to lose another one to get out, to even reach your level. So like there's some issues.
Yeah, for sure.
But I mean, that's how it is when you have these 14, 15, 25, team conferences. One slip up's is going to knock you out of the conference play, or everybody better slip up at the same time because it's like when you have there's a bunch of people and you're like, who was I talking or listening to the other day? They're talking about like if you have 10,000 people and they all flip a coin and one flips heads, and then whoever flips heads stays in, and then you flip a coin again, and whoever flips heads stays again. Statistically, you're going to have one person that's flipped heads 10 times, and when you have this many teams, you're going to have one team that's flipped heads, 10
times.
Yeah.
Good point. So.
And it's just chances are it's not you. Sometimes it happens, but chances are it's not. So, anyways, going back to the rest of the week, I don't know if there's any other games you wanted to talk about.
I mean, let's talk about Florida State, and then we can talk about fired coaches because I feel like that naturally flows into the next conversation.
Yeah. I watched the Florida State game.
Me too.
It was pretty rough. And honestly, I really wanted them to go to overtime just to watch it play out to be terrible. Because I don't think Florida State would have won that in overtime, to be frank.
Probably not.
First off, that is a terrible call. That was a touchdown.
Yes.
To end the game. It's a terrible
call.
The
grand scheme of things, it doesn't matter, right? Like our coach is going to get fired. He'd already fired himself earlier in that game, basically. But yes, he did score. He did score.
And if you look at every Florida State fan goes, yeah, whatever. It shouldn't.
Yeah, no one cares. It's the funniest thing. Like everyone's kind of like, actually, if this accelerates the change, whatever.
I would have loved to just watch how overtime. Like if you were at all on Twitter watching just FSU fans blow up. I just think it would have been prolonged blowing up, and then like, oh great, now we're gonna win this, and we're gonna be stuck with the coach for a little longer, and it was just been more funny and more entertaining. And I feel like that's rough for them. I've got a thought process on. You give me your thoughts, and then I've got a thought process.
Well, yeah, just like the team's clearly given up, right? Like they don't care.
This is a
discipline penalties. Don't care. Like it's not good. When you say that, I don't know what you mean.
Gus Malzahn is great when he's great, and when he's not, he's terrible, and his team's
not
winning. And it happens every now and then. He like kind of loses his juju or doesn't quite know how to attack a team, and he can't figure it out. And to me, this is where Norvell, frankly, I think you shouldn't have given up your. I don't know how you would have been able to justify not giving up your play calling duties, but you shouldn't have given them up because Norvell sometimes can find a way in a game to figure out how to attack a team and change and address those things. He has done that. I know that last year was a rough year, but you had DJ, and so you couldn't really do anything. But if you got back to Jordan Travis, you watch him. He's like, oh, I found an opportunity here with this Jets or with this counter. I'm going to run counter. Oh, I found an opportunity. If I get the ball outside here, I'm going to get the ball outside there. And he made those adjustments. And I don't feel like Malzahn is capable of doing that. He's not. He's old and not there where Norvell is. Kidding, but like kind of has that vibe. It's like, oh, it's not working. I guess we go on. But
Yeah,
yeah, what are your thoughts?
well, like for Kevin Sperry, the true freshman quarterback who had to go into the game and engineer the last drive, for him and for like the players on the field, like you kind of want him to get that touchdown and be rewarded with that, and that might give him some confidence in his career. Which, if he knows what's good for him, it probably won't continue at Florida State. But I think he's got a bright future, so
Yeah.
he looks pretty good. Yeah, grand scheme of things, yeah, just that the team gave up, and that's kind of the end of the line. Like you've had teams give up on you now at least two, I would
Twice.
say three, and maybe even 4 seasons in Norvell's time. Uh,
Okay.
Certainly in
Are you
2020.
talking about like the undefeated season where everybody just went home as well, or are you talking? I'd say last
No, I
year, this
wouldn't count
year,
that one. Sorry, I
and then
would have.
2020.
Yeah,
Or
2020, last year, and this year were the three that I was specifically mentioning.
okay.
The other one was like the 5-7 after you lose to Notre Dame, and then you lose to Jacksonville State. I think it took a while to kind of rally the
Yeah.
troops after that. And again, that's where you really had, okay, Jordan Travis is going to be our guy going forward.
Yeah.
But all that to say, it's time. Like I said last week, I don't know. I don't feel confident that this is going to end well for Florida State one way or another, right? Because I think if you fire him this year, which I think you have to at this point, like the fans, they came out with that announcement saying like we're going to go until the end of the. Yeah, I don't know if you saw that today. They
Yeah.
released a statement like we're committed to him through the end of the season. That's I don't believe that that's the case. Like I don't think that's going to happen.
Oh, I think you have to make that comment. If you're not going to fire him right now, you have to make that statement saying,
You
"Hey,
don't have to say those words though. You can just say, "Hey, we're evaluating this as it comes." You don't have to say we're committed to him through the end of the year.
oh, I think this is. I think if you, I don't know if you listen to Bud Elliott or Cover Three mentioned like set expectations low, and then if you beat the expectations by firing him, everybody's happy. And that's kind of was like, hey, this is the worst that it'll be, like whatever else. And there's no way he plays him back into himself back into a contract. First of all,
No,
and then second of all, it's like this clearly shows that you don't have the money to buy him out right now, and so it may mean that you don't have the money next year, and you're like, listen, we are gonna sacrifice a year, whatever else, as well. No, that may be the real case. Like we're gonna have to go another year, because we can't pull out an X amount of dollars, or it may be the fact that like we're still in negotiations with one of the potential coaches that is available, and he wants to see a few other openings to see what's available for him, and then he might commit to us.
well,
That's also what.
there are going to be some other ones, and there's going to be some ones that are better than this one. Is the fear that I have, like
Yeah,
being a
the question
realistic.
is, do you want to go to them? Like, I don't know if Franklin wants to go to Florida, and I don't know if Florida wants Franklin, to be frank. Like, you're playing big games every week. Your reputation is that you can't win big games. Well, you don't play big games every week in the ACC. So that's where you're more likely to end up, in my opinion, if you end up anywhere.
Yeah, yeah, and
Like, I don't know who's a better place that would be willing to take him if they fire their coach.
you make a good
That's my
point
biggest.
there. That you make a really good point there because yeah, I don't think Florida would take him. I mean, Penn State just fired him, so Penn State's not taking him. LSU might open, Auburn might open. I don't think either one of them is going to touch him. Maybe it is a match made in heaven where James Franklin can come to FSU, right the ship, right? Like get you so you're like beating 70% of the ACC, which isn't particularly good at football, but you've just been especially bad.
Yeah.
I think he'll recruit okay. Like,
Can I give you a theory? This is not quite on. This is not on coaching carousel, but it's a theory about the ACC a little bit.
sure,
So in late 2023, early 2024, FSU and Clemson filed lawsuits against the ACC. So we've gone through what, a year, a little bit of. I think Jim Phillips might have made a a deal with the devil, because if you watch who wants to leave, it's like it's Clemson, it's Florida State, it's UNC. Those teams are like a combined 1-18 since like in the last like.
I thought we were going full on like tinfoil. I thought we were going to go conspiracy theory where he put some sort of fix in on him, but I like this even better. Where it's like
I think he's made.
I made a blood pact to.
I'm not going to be able to survive.
Have these teams lose.
You right the wrongs for me. Damn them and their teams and their fan base. I'm going out all hell burning. Like that's what I think. Kind of. I don't know. Like it's a very weird coincidence that like Florida State and Clemson both want to get out, and then Clemson does not look like itself last year. Florida State looks absolutely terrible, and then again this year they both absolutely are awful. And it's like, and then on top of that you have UNC and Belichick, like, and you had your coach fired last year. Like it's a weird run for the teams that want to get out. Now Miami, I think wants to get out, but they also don't have the. They've never said
they weren't the vocal ones, yeah, for sure.
Yeah. And so they haven't paid the price. But the deal at the crossroads, where the devil meets you, was made on UNC, FSU, and Clemson's behalf, and it's definitely working.
Yeah.
So
hard to argue with the results. Like, oof. So yeah, is James Franklin like Coach 1A for FSU?
I'm not.
Yeah, I'm not. You're not a journalist, right? I'm not. Yeah. Saying like you have sources on this, but I'm. For you, is that your?
If I'm an FSU coach or fan, I don't necessarily love Franklin's record. Right? We make fun of Franklin, but he recruits well. He develops pretty well. If you look at his people that have been gotten drafted in the NFL, it's been pretty decent. His big game leaves to be wanted. I'm like, people don't want to go the G5 route again. They don't want to go improvement, but right now at this point, it's either Franklin or you go that route. I don't know if another coach is that's willing to come to you, and you got to go find somebody that's potentially up and coming, like USF coach maybe, or is it mostly the fact that he's had a good quarterback and that's kind of crazy and dynamic that has made him successful? I don't know. I really don't know where you go here, and I think that's partially why they haven't fired him. It's like, what do we do? What's the next game plan? Because
that's kind of where I was again last week, where I was like, hey, if you can somehow, maybe the results are good enough. Again, that's before I thought they would beat Stanford. I thought they would kind of roll out of bed and beat Stanford, right? Like I don't know if you needed a Herculean effort to beat Stanford.
I thought they'd cover. You questioned it.
I mean, I didn't question it, but I thought they'd win, right? I didn't think they'd lose. So all that to say, like, I think the reason I said that was because I think, number one, outside of like 3 or 4 candidates, and I'm talking like the home run of home runs. So like, there's talk about like, hey, for the open jobs and for the ones that are soon to be open, that are those premier jobs, LSU, Florida, Auburn, Penn State, maybe you put them in that same group. Like, there's like a handful of candidates like Marcus Freeman at Notre Dame. You probably have to make a phone call and see like, hey, is there any interest?
There's no way you get Marcus Freeman.
Lane Kiffin to Florida is one that I've heard thrown around, and it's like,
and I think that is the stupidest thing ever. Why would I go to Florida when I'm way better at Ole Miss and they're spending the money that I need and I'm competing at Ole Miss? Like, that makes no sense. Why would I go to Florida and have to start over again? That's a dumb decision.
Well, I mean, now it isn't always necessarily starting over. It could be like, hey, I'm pulling half my roster with me. So it may not necessarily be that, but my point is like,
Ole Miss would match them. I think Ole Miss would match them in a heartbeat.
I think they tried to. I don't know if they have the same dollars. Like I don't know. I'm saying I've just heard that name thrown around by enough people that it's like, okay, and enough people that are not like, just throwing it out there just for engagement. Like I think there's some possibility that happens. Okay.
I think people thinking like, oh, that's who you would want to go get. It's the same thing when BYU or FSU parents were like, go get Bob Stoops. Like, yeah, that's who you want to get, but you're not going to get that person. Like, you're not going to get.
I think this is more realistic than that was. I didn't think that had any real legs. But
when you got Napier, you could have got him then.
Yeah, fair question.
I mean, he's not substantially improved Ole Miss since 3 years ago. I mean, they've been about as good. They've been a 2 or 3, 4 loss team every year. I don't know. Like, that's what I think that thought process is a little crazy. I don't know who else you think might be going for the. I
Well, my
derailed with thought process. I'm
my
sorry.
point was where I was going with that was like none of those types of candidates I think are even fielding a phone call from Florida State, right? Like no one
Yeah,
that's like a proven winner at the Power Five level that's has name recognition and all that's not going to happen. So it's like, do you go the
yeah. Why
coordinator
would they?
route? Do
They
you
have to
go?
restart. You have to rebuild almost 100%. Like, there's no reason to do that.
It always depends, right? Like I think that there's sometimes there are people where it's like, oh, you didn't strike while the iron was hot, and now you're stuck. People that have like maybe outstayed their welcome. Like I'll give you an example, and this is a G5 coach, so maybe this is something, but like Jamie Chadwell at Liberty probably should have
Yeah,
struck while the iron was hot.
you definitely should have. Yeah,
And it's not anymore. And so like there's other examples of that. I don't have them right off the top of my head, but I could like I
yeah,
mean even heck, Mark Stoops at Kentucky, was
yeah.
right in line for the A&M job to this past cycle and was in line for other jobs ahead of that and decided to stay at Kentucky, and he'll probably be fired at some point at Kentucky. Um,
Heaven forbid they're not happy with their 7 wins that they were excited to
Right,
get.
right. Well, I'm just saying, like, I think that there's angst there about the lack of production the last couple of years,
Yeah,
despite what he had done, which was kind of unprecedented there. All that to say, like, I just don't know who you go get, and that's why where my preference was, and again, I don't think the Stanford game necessarily changes it. It changes it for a lot of people where it's like, okay, this thing's over, just because this will snowball, right? Like this is going to get worse, right? You lose to that Stanford team. There's not a team on the rest of your schedule that you cannot lose to because your
oh,
players just
100%.
have
Yeah,
quit. So for that reason, it's like, okay, you probably have to move on now. But if you could have afforded to wait a year, it would be attractive to me just because it's like, all right, if LSU, Auburn, Florida all are locked down, and I don't see a whole lot of turnover. Like next year is, I don't see any teams right now that are like, oh, they might fire their coach next year outside of maybe Michigan, depending on how the rest of this year plays out. That maybe if they
yeah.
if they have a
Someone
bad
more.
game this year or a bad season this year, if they don't finish strong this year, and then they have a bad year next year, you might move on from Sharon Moore. Is what I'm saying. Like you could see
Yeah,
like perhaps them, but beyond that, like you're going to be close to the top of the food chain when it comes to like open jobs. This year, I think
a
you're
lot
going to
of
have
people.
to fire him, and you're going to be like 5 or 6 down the line.
Oh yeah, if not more, because I mean you've got open jobs potentially at Florida, LSU, Arkansas,
I
Penn
would say
State.
Florida State's better than Arkansas, but Penn State, yes.
Yeah, I would say that would be the case, but maybe Arkansas might be able to pay more based off of revenue share until they get in the ACC. Um,
Maybe.
Not revenue share, but like based off of the
Yeah,
revenue that they
they're
get.
the media
Um,
deals. Yeah.
yeah, I'm trying to think who else on there. Like, I think you're either picking up someone sloppy seconds, which is terrible to say. I mean, whatever else, or you're gonna get somebody that's you're gonna hope that they work out, and you're gonna invest a little bit in them, but not much in them, and then see what happens. Or ooh, I'll tell you who I go get if I'm Florida State.
Let's hear it.
I go get Fran Brown. That's
I'm
who I go get.
interested. I'm
I go.
interested. He got screwed this year. His QB got injured for the like.
Yeah,
I'm ignoring their results from this year
I
for the
100%
most
am too as
part.
well.
I mean, like
But
Angeli goes out in what game 3.
you have a proven recruiter. You have a proven.
I don't think you get
Like,
him though. He's from there. He's from Camden, New Jersey. But if you could, all
yeah,
right,
yeah.
I
Trying
like
to think
that
who
one.
else I might go after. I don't think you're gonna get many head coaches that will come over to you. Like,
Not from the P5 ranks, and I don't know how many of them. It's like, oh, I really want him, right?
yeah.
Like
Now, what about if Florida goes back to Dan Mullen?
they're not
Like
going
the biggest
back.
issue was that he couldn't recruit. Well, now the bag recruits for you, and he can work with 3, 4, 5 stars. It doesn't matter.
I don't think so. Like I
I don't think
mean,
they will. I think
but it's an
they
intriguing
made a
proposition.
mistake.
You're right.
They made a mistake moving on from Mullen a little bit, probably. They might have had. I mean, it'll be interesting to see what's left in the cupboards at Florida because if you can keep Lagway, if you can
Most
keep
of
a
that
few of the,
roster, yeah.
yeah, you potentially that has talent by all means. It just needs some discipline. So, I mean, I'm trying to think. You got to go coordinators if you're going to go. anybody from a big school, or you're going to take sloppy seconds, or you're going to take a G5. That's who. If you flip out this year. If you don't flip out this year and you go another year with Norvell, like,
Maybe
what's
someone
it
else.
matter?
Yeah. Well, maybe something else. It's funny because like I feel like the coaching carousel is similar to. We've probably spent way too much time on this, but whatever.
No, it's
But
cool.
um,
We do what we want. It's our
yeah,
podcast.
that's right. But like the coaching carousel is very to me similar to like draft classes, where it's like sometimes there's like 7 or 8 coaches that are all like clearly like peaking and they're kind of leveling up and they're all available this year. And many of them will
Mhm.
get jobs this year, will cash in on whatever they've done at some lower level or at a different school. And then there's other years where it's like, all right, there's lots of demand, but the supply of like exciting up and coming coaches is maybe a little bit shorter. So
Yeah.
yeah, I don't know. I don't know what the answer is. I'll have to like do a little bit more digging on like who are
I mean,
yeah
ideally, if I'm a Florida State fan, I want someone that's willing to recruit the high school ranks and get into the dirty high school ranks.
yeah.
That's what I care about more than anything else.
I definitely agree with that. I just don't know who that person is right now. Like
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, I think the whole staff gets fired, right? You don't keep anybody.
yeah, I think you clean house. Yeah,
You might keep Patrick Surtain, maybe.
maybe. Yeah, maybe.
Yeah, like because he's
Even then, I would say that's more like, hey, I want to keep his players, and
yeah,
I want him as a recruiter to be a bridge, and maybe he's only on staff for a year or two.
because he hasn't developed them very well.
Yeah, so it's all bad. It's kind of my long and short of it. Like I think you have to
But
move
you and I
on, but I
saw
don't
this. We
feel
saw this
but I don't feel
4 years ago.
optimistic going forward either. Like
Yeah, no, we saw this when Malzahn was here, and it's also funny that you like. I'm glad you don't fire Norvell and turn it over to Malzahn. I would have hated that. I'm like, great, we have Malzahn as our coach. I think so poorly of him
yeah,
as a coach.
I'm not a fan. I think yeah. At one point, Mark texted us and it was like, "Hey, it's time for you to owe him to give him an apology." I was like, "No, I'm not doing that yet."
Yeah,
Like,
I mean, I wouldn't mind. I don't know what Aaron Roderick does from a recruiting perspective to BYU OC, but I love his play calls. I love how his style.
I mean, I think it's pretty well suited. Like, I think he's pretty
Yeah,
rooted here
I'm not
in
saying he's
Utah.
not. I'm trying to think of other people I would like. I'm not saying it would happen.
Other play callers.
Yeah.
I'll think about it some more. I'll come with a list of guys that I
All
would
right.
consider. I
All
mean,
right. So
Brian Harsin, Nick Rolovich, one of those two, like the Cal offensive brain trust, I like a lot. Um,
yeah, Brian Harsin
not as a
scares
head
me a little
coach,
bit.
as a
Yeah.
play caller, right? Like, so
Yeah.
bring him in as your OC. Can you bring JKS over too? Excellent. Like,
Do what you did to Nebraska's defense to Cal's offense.
yeah. Well, just him actually. I don't
Yeah.
want any other pass catchers, but
Yeah, just like
but
yeah.
I'm recruiting off of that. I'm recruiting a couple of transfer guys and then some serious high school talent. I'm like, hey, we have a 5-star quarterback who
Yeah.
can really sling it.
We already
Look what
know
he can do.
Indiana's next in line to take him. No, I'm just kidding.
Maybe. Uh, yeah. Okay.
If you look at Florida or LSU, do you think that either one of those, or if Florida's open, who else do you think that they consider? Do you want to talk about that, or
Yeah,
and do you think
let's
LSU
talk about
opens?
it. So we talked about Lane Kiffin. I think Jed Fish is obviously. I think we've talked about this, or I've mentioned it in passing a few different times. That hey, Washington, if Florida ever opens, you're in trouble here.
Jed Fish is a Florida alumni. Is that correct?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, he went to
Yeah, I
school
think
there.
that's where you go. I think that's the next place, and I think that I don't know where else seems reasonable to me.
Yeah, and he's he's a good recruiter. He checks a lot of the boxes. He's a good recruiter,
Yeah,
offensive guy, scores lots of points. And I think, for my money, over the last 2.5 years, he's fixed a lot of the conservative game management stuff that he did at Arizona, which would at the time sort of drove me nuts. And then he went
Mhm.
to Washington, and now I feel like he's been much more aggressive on going for it on fourth down, not settling for field goals when it's fourth and short. Like I
Yeah,
feel like he's done a better job of doing that. So like really, I don't have any qualms. But like if I'm Florida on that, I'm disappointed. Like put it this way, as an FSU fan, if they get Jed Fish, I'm like, dang it, they got a good one. Like
yeah. I think it's either Jed Fish or you go Alex Golish, who already beat you in the swamp. But bring him home or bring him in.
Yeah, I think those are ones.
He's
Again,
an Ohio State player.
I don't remember where he played his ball. He's he's from his coaching background. He was Tennessee's offensive coordinator under Josh Heupel. I think that they were together at UCF as well. I think. So he's that same offense from that same sort of philosophy, but I don't know about his playing career. I'm not familiar with that part of it. I don't remember it off the top of my head. Um, so yeah, maybe that's an answer. They've had a great season. He's doing good things at USF. To me, it's more just like I don't. It's not my favorite offense. So if it was my team, I'd be like, okay. I feel like that offense is like boom or bust, and it's like,
Yeah.
it's not that it's bad. It's just I don't know if I'd want the team that I root for running it.
Yeah. Well, that's how I felt about Taggart's
Malzahn,
offense.
no, yeah,
Malzahn's offense.
yeah,
Yeah.
Malzahn's for sure too.
And to be
Yeah.
frank, a little bit of Norvell's offense sometimes. So
Yeah. So yeah, maybe I'll come together with a list of proposed coaches for FSU to potentially hire next go around. I think Florida. I think we've identified the 3 or 4. Again, I don't think that the Lane Kiffin one's completely crazy. Like I don't think that that's as out of the realm of reality as you seem to. So I think within those 3 or 4, you've probably got your guy.
yeah,
I guess
people talk Eli Drinkwitz as well from Missouri.
yeah. I mean,
That scares me a little bit.
yeah, guys won recruiting battles that you wouldn't expect Missouri to win. Again, some of that's just they have
Mm-hmm.
the funding that they need, but I think you'll get that at Florida too. But he's won some big recruiting battles. He wins a fair amount of games. He's kind of obnoxious, like he'd be one where
Yeah.
I don't want him at Florida for a couple of reasons, but I also want him there for one reason, that he's pretty easy to hate. Like I actually like him quite a bit, but I could see how if he's wearing the wrong colors and is kind of, I don't know if you've ever watched any of his interviews. He has no problem needling opposing fan bases, and he's, I don't know, he just like the lack of self awareness or the feigned lack of self awareness when they're like 10-2 and they haven't beat anyone last year. And he's like, we're going to get in the college football playoff. It's like you guys have no chance at this, but he's just like,
At the same time, it kind of fits that UF Central Florida vibe.
yeah, exactly. So it might be a match made in heaven, and that's what I said. Like I wouldn't want him there, but like also that was like, okay, he's easy to hate, right? Like there's some times where it's like, man, I really like this coach. I don't want him to be somewhere where I have to root against him. That one's
Yeah.
one where it's like, okay, he'd be pretty easy to root against.
Can they pull Urban
I think he'd
Meyer
also
out
do
of
a pretty good
recruiting?
job. Oh my gosh. Oh, I didn't even think about that. I don't think they would, but
What? Even if it was for
how
3 years,
awesome would
like
that be? How awesome would that be? Like, I think
yeah, based,
Urban's done, but that's
based off the
probably the only
reputation
place
Urban.
you would go.
Yeah, yeah.
Sorry,
I'm the other team. I was thinking other people that I would want, like if I was Florida State, Florida, Key, the Georgia
Brent
Tech coach.
Key.
Like
Mm-hmm.
he he beat you in a few head-to-head battles for recruiting, but also he just instills a toughness on his team. Now, where does he end up? The one thing I'm like I want to see is how does he do without Haynes King as a quarterback? What does he do in the next? Because Haynes King's he makes up for a lot of holes that are on your team,
Yeah,
but he also he what he hasn't turned over the ball like he had in the past, and that's maybe you coached it out of him. What if you go get Chris Winkie? Isn't he like the OC over there or the quarterback coach there?
he's the QB coach.
Yeah, I don't know.
Yeah, I don't.
It's an idea. Like you wouldn't have to pay as much money for them, but yeah. Or if you could pull Brom out of Louisville, which I don't know if you could. I think Florida might be able to do that. They could outspend Louisville.
Yeah,
But I
they
don't know if Florida
could.
State could.
Yeah, the issue with Brom is that I mean his entire team's been, not the entire team, but large chunks of that team have been out of the transfer portal multiple years in a row
Yeah,
too.
yeah,
He's kind of he's embraced that sort of philosophy of late. not to say they haven't had a few recruiting wins, like Isaac Brown, the running back, is a true sophomore and is, out of the Miami area, but was under recruited, right? He wasn't battling
Yeah, no,
Miami and Bama and Georgia for a running back out of South Florida. Like they
yeah.
got him on the
If you
cheap,
were to
but
put your money on anybody, who would you put it? Jed Fish?
for Florida,
Yeah.
yeah, I think our Washington listeners are not going to love that, but yeah, I think that's
That's
not
who
a
I put my
bad.
money on, yeah.
And Washington, again, I feel like they're developing some momentum, and it's like I feel
Yeah.
like this one to me had potentially more staying power than when DeBoer was here. I thought DeBoer left; he struck while the iron was hot, right? Like
Yeah.
the cupboard was pretty bare when he left, like, um,
He also
and
took the good pieces too.
a few of them. The rest of them kind of got
Yeah.
distributed across the country, like.
Yeah. But I mean, he's like, I'll take you and you and you. All right. The rest of you probably can't make it on this
Yeah,
roster.
Parker Brailsford, um, the center that he brought with
Yeah.
him was quite good. Jeremy
Oh, and
Bernard,
the wide receiver.
yeah,
Yeah.
Jeremy Bernard,
Yeah.
and they did bring Austin Mack, but they haven't ended up using him, and I think he will probably
Is
not
that the
end up being a
quarterback?
starter there. Yeah, the
Yeah.
the quarterback that was at Washington followed them. I'm
Yeah.
not sure
That's
he
what I
plays
said.
at
Okay.
Bama, but um,
Yeah, because
yeah,
I mean, you got that other 5-star just last year. So
yeah. Mm-hmm. So Jed Fish at Florida sounds about right to me. I don't know if I'm ready to
We're-
put anyone for. Oh,
yeah, I think my money goes James Franklin at Florida State. I think that's what you end up with. I
I
think
mean,
James Franklin's
it
trying
feels
to
like
find a
that's
place.
going to be the best that he would be able to do if he wanted to get right back into it. Now, does he want to
Yeah,
do a year of sitting at a desk on, broadcast television talking about football and bide his time a little bit and maybe wait for something better? But to me, it seems like a good marriage, at least for like 3 or 4 years, right? Like he'll stabilize the program and get you to the point where you're all right. You're probably a 9-3 ish team in the ACC
yeah, you
consistently
can't give him
under
a
him.
crazy contract though.
Yeah. Don't buy into the hype.
Yeah,
You may have
and you
one
have a
flash in the
reason.
pan where you go like 11-1 or something. Don't
Yeah,
commit to anyone long term.
Florida State's had a problem with that.
Yeah. Oof.
I'm trying to think who else. The LSU job. Who would go in the LSU? Where would Brian Kelly end? Brian Kelly, in my opinion, would end up on a desk. I don't think he ends up at another coaching
Yeah,
job.
I think I'd have a hard time. I mean, I don't know what his age is at this point, but he's up there.
Yeah,
I mean, he hasn't really wowed me yet. Like he said, like he went to Notre Dame or he went to LSU because like you have all the resources to do everything you could possibly want in the sport. And I think Notre Dame is better off for him not being there. Like so,
Oh, it's
that's
yeah,
yeah. So that part's strange to me. LSU again, I think he's underwhelmed. Like that would be my
yeah,
so. I don't know. I think I heard someone say like, "Hey, would he be in play at Penn State?" If I'm Penn State, my answer is probably not. I don't think.
no, I don't
I
think so.
mean, he has won some big games. He's a good offensive mind, but he's always had like I feel like the stars have never aligned for him. Where it's like, okay, we have a great offense and a great defense at the same time. I mean, heck, the guy had Jaden Daniels with 2 first-round quarterbacks and 2 first-round tackles and did not win a national championship. And didn't win an SEC championship. Didn't win
You said
really anything.
yeah. You meant 2 first-round wide receivers too. Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, did I not say that too? Sorry. I
I
mean,
think you said quarterbacks, but yeah, yeah,
oh, sorry.
yeah,
So,
yeah,
yeah,
yeah.
2 first-round wide receivers, 2 first-round offensive tackles, and a Heisman Trophy winning quarterback, and came away with nothing. No trophies to show
Yeah.
for it, except for maybe a bowl win.
Okay, so but then who ends up there? Like, are there any up and coming people down south? I feel like this is like one of those ones with like you got a Louisiana or you have a
Summerall maybe
Liberty.
at Tulane.
That yeah, Summerall. That's probably the where the route they go.
I've already seen
And they
like
get
Auburn fans advocating to go hire him. So again,
yeah,
you're probably in a bidding war. If he has to choose between those two, I'm pretty sure he's choosing LSU though. Like,
yeah. No, okay. So I'm gonna. I think Matt Rule goes to Penn State. If Matt Rule
okay,
doesn't, you get it's Manny Diaz.
okay.
That's who I think. I think those are the two and potentially go there. I think you have James Franklin goes to Florida State. I think you have Jed Fish that goes to Washington.
Would you
And
want Manny Diaz at FSU?
I don't know if I do.
Because do you remember I said that this was a
Yeah,
possibility? Like, if he has a
yeah,
good season, he could be the new head coach. He's FSU alum, right?
he
Miami
is,
native.
and he coached underneath what's his name? The DC from back in the day.
Mickey Andrews, yeah.
Yeah, Mickey Andrews. So
Mm-hmm.
he's got the glory days with him. I get if you don't get Franklin, I could see you trying to go get Manny Diaz, and I see Manny Diaz wanting to make that move. Like not that Duke is good and doing well, but I don't think Duke is like a step up significantly in talent from Florida State. It's like I think they're probably beat
No,
Florida
I
State.
mean, I think
But
that, yeah, this year they'd beat us, but like,
yeah,
yeah, I think you've got that. The other part of it that, this is the softest of factors and wouldn't be one that I would be making the decision off of, but like, he's gonna have, like, Miami is gonna he's gonna circle that
yeah,
game every year. Like, it's important to you and it's important to him. Like, so,
mm-hmm. Yeah.
and his 2 games at Duke, he split them. Oh, sorry. Let me double check that. Maybe he's only played him once as the head coach at Duke last year, and they played him
But he
tough.
beat
They played him real
yeah. Didn't
tough.
he beat Clemson last year though? Didn't he?
Yeah, he
Like
beat Clemson. Like, he's a good coach, right? Like, I do kind of question, like, hey, is he as good a recruiter as you need to have? Because, like, again, he leaves, Cristobal comes in, immediately the recruiting pops. Like,
yeah,
so
like it
that'd
was
be a
good.
question.
I
But
thought it was good. I don't think it was great. It's not
I mean, he was
Cristobal.
beating Mike Norvell's staff. Let's put it that
Yeah,
way. He's an
yeah.
upgrade. Now, how much of an upgrade maybe is a discussion, but
You're not. I don't know anybody that will recruit on Mario's level that isn't already up at the top. You know?
yeah, that deserves a head coaching role for sure. Like, I
Yeah.
can think of some coordinators that I'd like, okay, put these guys down here and they could really compete with him.
Okay.
Like, if you
I,
got Manny
I,
Diaz as your head coach and you stole Tosh Lupoy from Oregon, their defensive
okay.
coordinator.
All right.
I'm not saying you
Okay. I mean,
can steal him. I don't know if he is attainable, but like,
yeah.
he's not a defensive mind. That's why I want Diaz to be still the head coach, and like, okay,
Yeah.
you're gonna need to help with the actual game planning.
Yeah. You need a good OC. You're right.
Yeah, well, you
And
need something like, but yeah. Sorry,
yeah, I
keep
think
going.
Summerall goes to LSU, and then I don't know where you have Nebraska and Duke or those teams. I
Auburn,
don't know where
like,
else you
yeah,
go. Yeah. I don't
yeah,
know if do you think Auburn fires? I don't know if Auburn
yes.
hires Hugh Freeze this year. You think
I
no?
think they fire him. Yeah, I think they're ready
Like
to move on.
then who do they
Uh,
go with?
well, yeah, that's what I was gonna say. They're lobbying for Summer also.
Dan Mullen.
Okay,
They're going Dan
maybe
Mullen.
there's no. They're not doing Dan Mullen.
Yeah.
Does Joey McGuire level up after having a pretty good year at Texas Tech this year?
Ooh. No, why would you, man?
Yeah, it's a
Like
hard place to move if you got the backing that you've got, but there are
yeah.
jobs that are potentially like just like more
I
prestigious. But
I
he's a
could go
Texas
and win the
guy,
Big
so
12 every
so
year and
maybe
get into
maybe
into
maybe he bides his time until he gets to like A&M or the
yeah.
Longhorns job potentially, if he's able
Yeah.
to do that, right? Like, but
I feel like you can win the Big 12 every year and get into the playoffs, and then
yeah,
you're
you
like,
might just be at a destination job given the investment that they're doing. So maybe you
yeah.
don't move.
Granted, it may we may get to an even playing field based off revenue share where they can't invest at the same level that some of those people can, and like maybe they aren't allowed to as invest within NIL as much.
Yeah, I think that the traditional powers now are desperate to pull that ladder up and just say like, hey, you can't just throw money at the problem and become a new power. Um,
Yeah,
we'll see if the lawsuits really bear that out, because I feel like that's a pretty obvious antitrust thing. That's like, okay, until you negotiate with players that there's a salary cap, I find it hard to believe that you're going to really be able to enforce that.
yeah.
But
I'm
anyway,
just thinking, like, yeah, I think that it's a good call on the Texas Tech where he goes. I don't know. Anybody else that you think is on the hot seat?
I mean, Baylor, like Dave Aranda, Baylor's going to open. I would assume
Yeah,
Dave Aranda's probably going to get fired. Jake Spavital, his offensive coordinator, that'd be a guy I'd like at Florida State. Like, I don't
as a
I
head
don't know
coach
if
or
I
as
want
a
to miss,
offensive
not as a head
coordinator?
coach. No, I
Okay.
don't think. I mean, he's been a head coach. It hasn't really worked out just yet. But as offensive play caller, great. Yeah, I'd take him in a heartbeat. Um, so yeah, there's one that I'd throw out there.
Yeah.
Uh,
It's interesting. We're talking a lot of East Coast schools and not as many West Coast schools having problems. Like,
Yeah. Well, I think because like UCLA is already open, right? So
yeah,
that's part of it. But like in our discussion, Washington opens up, and I don't know where Washington turns. Actually, I know where I might turn if I was Washington. There's two teams that I would probably look at long and hard.
wait. Two coaches you're thinking?
Two coaches, yeah.
I don't know who are you going. Do you go back to Arizona?
No. I need to see more from. What's Brenham? I can't
Yeah.
remember. What is
I'm
his last
trying
name?
to head.
I would.
Go
Do you want me to? Do you want me to tell
ahead. Go
you?
ahead.
Okay. So yeah, number one, I
NC
would.
State.
Oh no, Danielson. I think that they've got better resources than anyone else in the Mountain West. Like that community around Boise has really gone all in on the Broncos,
Yeah.
which is good. I think that that's sort of propping them, artificially inflating him. I would talk to Sean Lewis at San Diego State, another offensive
Okay.
guy, has a unique play calling system. I think Jed Fish put a lot of the infrastructure in place for a new coach to be, it provided the same people that are backing,
Yeah.
Washington right now continue to back it. Sean Lewis is interesting there. I also, what's his name? Something Entz. I can't remember. Head coach at Fresno, was the head coach at North
Yeah.
Dakota State a couple years ago, won some national championships at a lower level, was at USC last year, helped with the defensive turnaround they've had. He's not the only one responsible for that. But now is the
They've
head
had
coach at
some
Fresno.
weird games this year, though,
Yeah,
Fresno
but
has.
5-2 in your first year at a place like Fresno, where it's not an easy turnaround, is pretty impressive.
Yeah, but you also played like Hawaii ridiculously close. Hawaii sucks, and then you got blown out by
Hawaii
Colorado
doesn't
State.
suck, man. Hawaii's for their level, right? In the Mountain West, they're like what, like 5-3 right now, 5-2.
Let's
Tim
see,
Chang, like you wouldn't pull him, and I don't know if you'd want to pull him, but he's doing
six
an
and two.
excellent job at Hawaii. Yeah, he's doing an excellent job at Hawaii. It's been forever since they've been 6-2.
Okay, I think it's true. I'll take it back. But you got blown out by Colorado State.
Yeah,
Yeah. So, and that Norvell has lost his job too.
yeah. That was kind of the weird anomaly. It was like, all right, everything else had gone wrong for Jay Norvell at Colorado State of late.
Yeah. I don't know. Yeah, it's gonna start getting crazy and topsy turvy in the next 2 or 3 weeks because you got to do it in Oklahoma. You got to do it in the middle of the year so that hopefully you can fill the positions relatively soon, and you don't have players leaving. You don't end up like Alabama a little bit when DeBoer left, and you were just open for fodder a little bit, or Washington, which got hurt even more so.
Yeah, that was rough. And again, Jed Fish, steady Eddie over there, just went and got
Yeah, and I don't
everything.
know how Florida State avoids that. Oh, I guess they don't have any players that people want, so that helps.
Yeah,
Like if I'm a person on the team, like who do I want in Florida State? I might go steal the Desir twins.
yeah. I was gonna say there's like a few freshmen I could think of. Like that's the one
Yeah,
thing that has been like oh,
and I'm
it's
gonna go get
they're
Brian.
exciting, but like
No,
honestly,
yeah,
I don't think they're gonna be around, right? Like
yeah,
so, yeah. I would. I mean, Kevin Sperry, the QB, I think is
yeah.
okay. I
He'll
think
go
he's pretty good.
somewhere. I don't see if he goes to like a great school, but he goes somewhere.
Oklahoma State.
Yeah. Okay.
Put that one down. I don't know who their next coach is, but like, hey, he's from Texas. Like that's an area where like he was committed to Oklahoma. He's maybe
Yeah, that's what I
not
was
quite
thinking.
that level,
Why
but
not
like
Oklahoma?
maybe. But I feel like they've got their QB of the future and whoever that recruit Bo Bentley that they've got right now.
Yeah,
So
but FSU kept stealing their recruit of the future. Like, I mean, Sperry was their quarterback, and then who's the quarterback that just this year that was committed to Oklahoma? And,
Jaden O'Neal, yeah, who
yeah.
that was a filler for their class until they could get Bo Bentley. Like I don't.
Okay. You think
Sorry.
so?
Yeah, I when he flipped to FSU, I was not excited. Put it that way.
Yes.
Um,
Okay.
should we talk about week 9?
No, let's keep going. All right, fine. Week 9. Let's go.
All right. Midweek, Kennesaw State, Florida International, Western Kentucky versus Louisiana Tech, Middle Tennessee versus Delaware, Missouri State versus New Mexico State, South Alabama versus Georgia State, North Texas versus Charlotte, Cal versus Virginia Tech, Boise State versus Nevada. A lot of like not very intriguing games to me. Like I'll tune into a couple of these, but like mostly it's like, oh, can JKS for Cal go on the road and Blacksburg and win? That'd be
Yeah,
interesting to see.
I'm surprised that they're like, was it -4.5 in that game?
Yeah, and he has
That
played
surprises me a little bit.
worse on the road, right? That part is just factually true, and some of it's the travel, right? Like, so they were at Oregon State. That's a pretty far road game. At Boston College. Boston College isn't particularly good. They did win the game, but they didn't win it as convincing as they should have. And on the road at San Diego State was a disaster, right? Like, not just for him,
Mm-hmm.
but for everyone. Like, I think that some of that is just baked in, where it's like, okay, they have not performed well on the road. Virginia Tech secondary is gettable, so who knows? But that was all I just wanted to say. Like, that's the one sort of midweek game where it's like, all right, I'll tune into that.
I'll tell you one other one that I'm interested in is this North Texas Charlotte game. Watching Eric
Maker.
Morris there.
Oh yeah.
Huh?
See, yeah, and the
Yeah.
reason I didn't bring him up is because it's just 1 year. Like, I need
It is.
maybe another year of sample size, and that's where it's like, hey, could you hold off for a year and maybe he has like really strike while the iron's hot when he like him and
Or
his
do you
QB or a
take the
package
risk
deal?
and you hit gold at a low level? Like that's
Maybe. It's a big risk though. Yeah, you'd have to be like, hey, look, we're going to pay you up. We're going to front load your contract. The first 2 years you get 6 or 7 million. The next 3 you're at 500,000, and if we're doing well, we'll renegotiate. Like,
yeah.
and he might jump at the chance.
You pay him $3 million. I wouldn't even pay.
Yeah.
Like a year.
Well, and sorry, but we're going to circle back to this coach thing for just one more second, because there was that thing I wanted to talk to you about beforehand. But like, yeah, why can't you get a super successful coach at a lower level and be like, hey, look, I'm going to triple your salary overnight, but there's also going to be a buyout if you can't, like, or be like a like half of the contract buyout if you don't hack it in 3 years. So it's like it's not this giant financial anchor.
You put yourself the university in the power position rather than the court.
Yeah, where it's like, hey, you're maybe, or like, maybe when the press conference rolls around, people are like, who is that? And it's like, oh yeah, he's going to have to prove himself, but like, he's proven himself at a lower level, and you give him a lower contract. That opens the coffers to either throw that money toward NIL or to his assistants, and then really you have a coach or a university-friendly contract on your head coach for the first couple of years until he gets some leverage.
And at a
something to think about.
ACC level,
yeah,
you can win 7 games.
Something to think about. I don't know. Like, I guess that's been rattling
Alabama,
around my
you
brain.
You play Georgia or Notre Dame. You do play Miami. You do play Florida. Like, those are 4 games in the first year that are going to suck. You're going to lose those first 4 games.
Yeah.
But if you win 1 or 2, great. You're all of a sudden people think super highly of you. But if you don't lose those, nobody cares. It's the first year, and they don't expect it to be there. But you win 6 or 7 games, you start to show some functionality, and you're like, oh, you're actually like somewhat competing for the ACC. You've got a chance to be in a good position. Florida State, to me, is feeling more and more like a mid-tier of a job rather than an upper-tier job because you are in the ACC.
Yeah, oh, for sure, without question. All right, back to week 9.
But
Ole Miss,
watching North Texas is interesting to me.
Yes, yes. Thank you for bringing that up. Ole Miss, Oklahoma. You said you were surprised that Oklahoma was a 4.5 point favorite, right?
I get that Oklahoma decided to figure out how that they could run the ball last week with Mateer instead of relying on him. But I get Ole Miss. I understand Ole Miss's defense is not that good, but it's going to become a balance between the Ole Miss and the offense and the Oklahoma defense, and I'm just interested. Can they hold off Ole Miss long enough for Oklahoma's offense to score?
Yeah, I tend to give the edge to Oklahoma here. I actually maybe a little bit of a spoiler. I think Oklahoma is going to win the game by more than 4.5 for a few reasons, right? So they have a great defense, and I think that they're going to be able to slow down Ole Miss. Again, they won't stop them. Ole Miss is going to score in the mid-20s, right? Somewhere in there. But I think that that's enough for you where if you're Oklahoma, if you can hold Ole Miss to, say, 24, I think Ole Miss's defense is bad enough that you're going to score 27. And I guess that doesn't have them covering, but I think that they will cover the spread. I think that Oklahoma's defense is at a similar level to Ole Miss's offense, and I feel like Oklahoma's offense is considerably better than Ole Miss's defense.
Would you say Ole
Not
Miss's
that it's great,
but
I just don't think
it's considerably worse than South Carolina's or Auburn's? Because Oklahoma was only able to put up 24, 26 points against those defenses.
Yeah, and I think
And
that some
I
of
would say
that
the
is
drop
just
off is
like,
significant there. Go on.
no, that's fair. I think that sometimes the one thing that I guess puts this in jeopardy of Ole Miss potentially covering the spread is that Oklahoma, since they have so much faith in their defense, they're pretty comfortable saying like, hey, we have a 3-point lead. We can just defend that. Just don't turn the ball over. And I don't feel like they really are chasing, running up the scoreboard or trying to,
Mm-hmm.
put up as many points as possible. So I think if Oklahoma gets a lead, it could be just okay, no coverage busts, and we just try and defend a lead for multiple quarters.
Yeah,
But
I feel
but
like this
I
game
don't
has to
know.
be. I think this game is played like 21-17 if Oklahoma wins. Like
Okay.
their defense has to shut down Ole Miss's offense.
Yeah. All right. I mean, I guess I can see that. That's probably, you make a good point where it's like Oklahoma couldn't score on South Carolina's defense. That's a problem. Like, no doubt there. Um, so I don't know. Like, I have Oklahoma winning that game. I think there's a few different like other factors. Number one, they're at home. Ole Miss
Yeah,
coming off of a
huge
huge
dogs.
game. Like, there's a lot kind of.
Yeah,
I've got Oklahoma in that game. What other games are you looking at? Are you excited about?
let's
Or
see.
not necessarily calling, making a pick
I
against the
think
spread, but
the UCLA Indiana game is going to be interesting just because of the fact that UCLA has won 3 straight now. Like, what is this
yeah,
team? But
yeah.
they've also put enough on tape that Kurt's going to be able to figure out a way to stomp this team a little bit too. But it's just going to be interesting to watch. Other than that, I'm like looking through games that I'm trying to find anything interesting that I'm like, oh, that'll
Missouri
be
Vanderbilt.
maybe. Yeah, that's what I was gonna say. Maybe Missouri, Vanderbilt, BYU, Iowa State, and then you get into the SEC, and you've got games that are going to be fun. Like, oh, come on, where are they? LSU, A&M. Like, that's at LSU at night. Can this LSU team figure it out? Um, then you have a game. Oh, there's another one that I was thinking that was interesting from the SEC's perspective, but I can't find it right now off the top of my head. Oh, I don't know. I like the games that have these small spreads. Oh, Auburn, Arkansas.
Oh yeah,
It's not a big. I mean, it's gonna have no effect on the SEC, but Arkansas hung tough with A&M this last week. Couldn't quite pull it out. Battle of the firing coaches? If Arkansas beats Auburn,
yeah.
like I don't think Auburn
It's
keeps their
over for
coach.
Hugh Freeze. Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. And that's another like good on good where
Um,
it's like, hey, Arkansas has a great offense. Auburn has a good defense. The other side of the ball, it's a very stoppable force meeting a very movable object. So it's like,
yeah. The other thing is like when you don't have these games where you feel like, oh, we have big teams for playing another big team. That's when we tend to have blowups. Like teams play down to the level of the other teams, and they don't actually control the things. They control like the games like they should. So I don't know. I I mean, what do you have? You have Texas A&M. You have BYU. You have. I'm trying to think of all the undefeated teams. A&M, BYU, uh, Ohio State is
Navy.
Indiana.
I think that's it.
Yeah. Which one of those drops? I think you most likely is BYU, right?
Yeah, I mean they're the only one that's an underdog, right? Off the top of my
Yeah.
head.
I don't know what Navy's line is right now off the top of my head
Navy's
either.
like 15 and a half point favorites over Florida
Yeah.
Atlantic. They're at home. So yeah,
And
I
Ohio
would.
State doesn't. They don't play this week, right?
I think Ohio State's off. Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. I would say that they're the
Um,
most likely to lose, and then I'd probably put Navy right behind them. Um,
yeah. Because Indiana's not losing,
do,
and
do you think Mississippi State can beat Texas?
if they do, all hell breaks loose in Austin. Good heavens! I mean, they didn't play great against Kentucky at all.
Tell you
I
what,
mean,
that would put like if you do that and you're Jeff Lebby and you might be the new like, hey, I have Power Five experience. I'm a great offense. I've recruited pretty well for Mississippi State. Like you win that game and my ears perk up, right? Like
What's the
they
line in that?
already
It's
it's
a
six and a
touchdown.
half. Yeah, 6.5 for a touchdown. I think. Um, you're at home.
Mississippi State. The problem is they've been in some games. They just haven't pushed themselves over the like they beat Arizona State, right? But you were in the Tennessee game, you were in the Florida game, and you couldn't push yourself over the edge. If you had won either one of those games, you're looking at a 5-2 Mississippi State team.
Yeah, you're. Yeah, I
Now
think
they're
they've
going
been
to
on
be
the
brought
cusp.
down much more to reality in with the rest of the year. You play Georgia, you play Ole Miss, you play
Yeah,
Western
it
Kentucky.
doesn't get any easier. I think the problem is like with Texas, if you're dealing with such a good defense that I don't know if your offense is going to be able to score points. If
Yeah.
your defense isn't
hmm
great, Texas's offense isn't great, but I think it will get to 21, and I'm not sure you're going to get to 21 against their defense.
So
But
if
interesting.
Texas had blown out Kentucky this last week, maybe they overlooked Mississippi State. But since they didn't blow out Kentucky, they probably won't overlook
I
Mississippi
don't think
State.
Texas can afford to overlook anyone, like right, like anyone in the
Yeah.
SEC. Let me clarify. Like when they played San Jose State and UTEP, like okay,
Yeah.
yeah,
Well, I mean,
but
that wasn't even a huge win. The UTEP win.
yeah,
Remember, 17 points. So,
yeah. Anyway, I just
uh,
like that one's one that I'm looking at. I'm like, can Mississippi State keep it competitive? Um,
yeah, there'll be fun games for sure that will not be expected.
yeah, I definitely agree with that. I think, yeah, I'm interested to see what happens in some of these. Yeah, like the late game Colorado at Utah. Like, does Devin Dampier
I'm
play
so
in that
excited for
game?
that game.
I
Huh?
I think Devin Dampier is still hobbled. Like, I should have brought this up when we were talking about that. Like, he rarely was looking to run against
Yeah.
BYU, and I think once they realized, hey, he's kind of reluctant to do that. That's when they started being more aggressive, sending people. So I got a hot take. I wonder if Bird Ficklin starts for Utah against Colorado on Saturday night.
Mm.
I think he may start. I think you might just go youth movement if you're Utah. You've already lost 2 games in the Big 12. Your season is not done, but like the major goals of
Yeah,
your season are gone. Um,
but you don't have a coach that's like, hey, I can start getting ready for next year. You have a coach that's this is his last year to win, so I don't feel like he's going to be.
maybe, but yeah, Ficklin's played well. I don't know. I just wonder if that's the case. And I don't know. Maybe I'm getting ahead of myself here, but if he's
Kyle
announced as a
Whittingham today
starter,
said there's a distinct possibility that he starts,
okay.
or
So
that he plays.
if he is announced as a starter, like if it's like not even announced, like if it's reported by someone who's like like some reporter breaks the story before the game, like not like a few years ago when they had Bryson Barnes start against Oregon State, kind of all of a sudden, and even the broadcast wasn't aware of it, like until
Yeah.
that first snap. If he's able to keep it under wraps like that, hat tip to Kyle Whittingham, and also he'll probably get a big fine from the Big 12, and I don't think he'll care. But if that's the case, I would be looking for that line to dip and then buying up Utah at like at a lower price, because at 13.5, I don't necessarily love them to cover that spread. But like if you can get like Bird Ficklin starting and it drops to say like a touchdown, I don't know how far it would move, but like if it
Yeah.
goes to like anywhere around like anything under 10, I'm buying Utah with Bird Ficklin. I'm a believer in that kid. I think he's good.
Yeah.
So that is like a quasi pick for me.
Okay.
So since we do this on Mondays, it's hard for us to always like snap up some of that late movement. So like let me
Yeah.
put that in. If the line dips below 10, in fact, I'll even go at 10 even. If I can get a push at 10, I'll take it. But if it moves down on news that Bird Ficklin's starting, I'll buy him up. I'll take
Okay.
the Utes to cover.
Any other games you want to talk about?
Um, no other ones to break down. I've got just well, I guess we probably ought to do some for our fans. Houston travels to Arizona State. We've got a couple Arizona State listeners. Houston's a tough defensive team. They don't really score very much. It's on the road. I don't know if I have a pick on the line. Willie Fritz is a really good coach. I think he needs one more year to really have Houston be a threat, and they will be. I think they will be a threat next year. But not this go around. Arizona State, I think, takes care of business in Tempe this
Yeah,
weekend.
I think that game could be potentially be close.
Okay.
But
We
yeah,
didn't really break down
that's the one
BYU
game we didn't
Iowa.
talk about. Go ahead.
Oh, sorry. I was going to move on to one more, but go.
I was saying that was one game we didn't talk about. Arizona State beating Texas Tech, and I mean it deserves its due a little bit, but
It
I
does.
didn't.
To me, it was mostly like, oh, I didn't know that Will Hammond was going to be making his first career start on the road. We've talked about how I feel about traveling
Yeah,
to the desert to play a road game is just not easy. Arizona State, both they like they'll bite. They jump up and get people. I always loved the late Pac-12 game when they were playing there because things got interesting, things got weird. And now that Arizona State is, they've got a premier quarterback, they've got a premier wide receiver, they've got a really good running back in Raleek Brown. Like starting a
yeah,
true freshman or a redshirt freshman on the road there is not going to be an easy. He kind of came back down to earth. He's played pretty well. I still think the arm talent's really good. Just more experience for Will Hammond is a big part of what they need going forward.
yeah.
But
And they capitalized on the interceptions.
yeah,
And,
I cashed him in.
yep.
Sorry. Did you want to talk?
Yeah. Any other games?
Uh, well, BYU Iowa State. I know that BYU is a road underdog. I get that. It makes sense. They're coming off of a huge rivalry game, probably, feeling themselves a little bit. Like I feel like that's
Well,
kind
did
of
you hear
natural.
Sataki's conversation in the locker room? Remember last year we
No.
won this game, and then we lost 3 after this, or 2 or 3 after this. We need to be careful with that. Like that was the first thing he said. One of the first things he said.
Yeah.
Like a warning to the
And
team.
Ames, Iowa is not an easy place to play. I actually like if you're BYU, you're probably glad this isn't a night game, like where it could be like
Yeah.
a really raucous environment. So 3:30, I think you'd live with that. But Iowa State will let you run at them, and that's what you do best. So I think that's going to give them a puncher's chance in this game. There's a reason it's a close spread. You're traveling. It's right off of a big game. It's not a it's a good opponent, right? Ohio State. Iowa State is not bad. They're maybe not the best team in the world. Rocco Becht is a really good quarterback. He's very difficult to bring down. He's tough he's tough to sack. But I also think you can probably dedicate more resources to forcing him to flush the pocket. I really like Jack Kelly as a spy. I'm glad that he's back.
Yeah, he looked great against Utah.
Yeah, he played well. I think that shoulder, provided that he didn't have any sort of injury setback, if he's playing, I like BYU to cover this game. Like, I'm going to take the points. I'm going to take them because you'll give them to me, but I think they go on the road and they win. Assuming the health of everyone, again, like I would look at injury reports over I think the initial ones come out like Thursday, the availability reports or whatever they call them. So maybe scope those to make sure that, like LJ Martin's good to go. But like, I think you're going to be able to run the football at them again. And so it's like, can you get it where Rocco Becht has to play hero ball and has to throw the ball a bunch of times? Because I think your secondary can cover them. It's just, you can't let him dice you up. And I think you have the personnel in your linebacking core to prevent that. So.
Yeah. And you showed that you can handle the inside run too outside of that. So
Yeah. I think I think they got a decent chance to go on the road and win that game.
All right. Well, you kind of pushed it already into picks. You want to go over picks this and call it?
Yeah. We're deep. If you're still listening to this, you're probably one of our best friends or our mother. So thank you.
My mom doesn't even listen this long.
She may not. I don't think my wife does.
My wife never listened to us.
Oh well, she does here and there. She's usually like, I'm a few weeks back, and she just takes. She loves to listen to it at like a few weeks after, where she knows like the results, and then gets to laugh at how off I am from reality. Speaking of how off I was from reality, week 8 was not a kind week to me. I guess you have. I'm sorry, you had the other couple that I didn't have written down here that I gave out on the show.
So you picked Ole Miss +7. That did not happen. Or -7, sorry. No, +7. That didn't happen.
Yes, that was wrong.
Yeah.
Texas Tech.
Texas Tech. That didn't happen. You picked
Would have been
Utah.
nice to know that Baron Martin wasn't playing. Like,
yeah. You did make a comment that you felt like you nailed the BYU Utah game minus your pick. You nailed the BYU Utah
Well,
game.
how the game would play out. So like, fair.
I'm teasing you.
I did, but I
49
didn't get the under. I didn't get the
You did get the
under.
under. Yeah.
50-50.
Indiana does not cover against Michigan State.
Weather delay killed me.
Washington and at Michigan. The under for the first half, 24.5. Yeah, you did well on that one. And Cal plays with its food and UNC covers the end. So you go 2-5 this week.
Rough.
Not a good week for you. You want to know what? Even a worse week for me.
Let's hear it.
I picked LSU to beat Vandy, or LSU minus +2.5 at Vandy. They don't win. I picked Ole Miss +7 at UGA. That missed. I picked A&M to cover the 7.5 at Arkansas. Didn't work. Ohio State does cover against Wisconsin. Texas Tech, I was with you on that one. The Florida State game, well, let's not even go there. We know what's happened there. And then I picked Florida to beat Mississippi State significantly, but that didn't happen. So I go 1-6. So your honors, my friend.
All right. Okay. Well, I already handed out a couple of them, right? So, yeah, Utah. If that line drops to 10 or less, give me the Utes because I think Bird Ficklin starts, and I think there's not a big difference in the play there. Oklahoma -4.5 versus Ole Miss. Again, I've almost talked myself out of that as we've talked through the game, but I just feel like they have the defense to stifle Ole Miss's offense, at least to a degree, and then I don't trust Ole Miss's defense. I like New Mexico -3 against Utah State. Bronco is headed back to New Mexico where he was there 1 year last year. Stepping stone job for him. And Jason Eck is wanting to get that Wisconsin job. I think this is the one where he empties the play sheet, getting a big win for his fan base there, who wants to win the breakup with Bronco Mendenhall. We already talked about BYU. I think BYU covers so BYU +2.5. I mean, I think there's a good chance that they win that game. Rocco Beck's a really good quarterback. You're going to have to keep him in check. You have to avoid the letdown. They're probably the most likely undefeated to lose, but I don't know. I feel like they're consistently underrated in terms of their performance. Like, I mean, what's the record against the spread? I think it's
I don't know.
4 and
I'll look it up real quick.
4-3, 5-2, maybe. So I think there's a good chance of that one there.
Yeah, 5-2 against the spread this year.
Okay, so they're pretty consistently outperforming what people think of them. Toledo +1.5 at Washington State. Okay, Toledo is colossally disappointing this year. They by all means should be 6-1 or 5-1. I can't remember how many games they played. The only game that they really should have lost was Kentucky, the first game of the season. They've had double-digit leads, and I think every other game, but have found ways to either make them close or lose those games. Here's my thought process here. So Toledo lost last week on the road at Marshall. Washington State's the better team. They're at home, but they've been traveling 2 weeks in a row and have had gut-wrenching losses the last 2 weeks. So they lost
beat Kent State last week, didn't they?
Oh, did I get that mixed up? Did they play Marshall 2 weeks ago?
I'm not sure.
Okay, sorry, I may have that mixed up. But just like Washington State has been on, the business end of 2 brutal losses against ranked opponents the last 2 weeks. I just wonder how much gas is left in the tank. Like, they should win this game, right? They should. This is kind of a vibes play, right? But it's like 2 terrible two really awful losses. You're going up against a much easier team to play than Virginia or Ole Miss, which are their last 2 games. So maybe there's some confidence in like, hey, we can play with those types of teams. I think you're also just like worn out from those, plus the travel. So 2 straight away games, really late. No starters didn't get any chance to rest. Toledo, I don't know. I'm going on vibes. I think Toledo covers the 1.5 there and wins in Pullman.
And vibes are always good.
It's all I have at this point. It's all I have at this point. Oh, last one. Pittsburgh -6.5 hosting NC State Wolfpack. Yeah, this is just, again, kind of a little bit of a vibes play. NC State's not very good. Pittsburgh's kind of riding high with the new quarterback, and they've got some pieces back, and like Desmond Reed. I think they're able to cover that spread.
Okay.
Okay.
I like your picks. You've talked me into some thought processes, and I'm not going to join you on any of them necessarily, but we'll get there. Give me SMU -3.5 at Wake Forest. They rolled Clemson last week. I think they continue to keep their foot on the pedal. Give me Bama -11.5 at South Carolina. That seems like a big number, but I feel like it can get done, and I feel like this might be the nail in the coffin for Beamer as well. We'll see. If they get blown out.
He's going to Virginia Tech, right? Like, he's just going to go there, right?
I mean, if you
we didn't talk about that one, but like,
I think if you said 3 weeks ago, there's no way in heck he goes to Va Tech.
I think he's going there.
Where they are now.
Yeah.
Yeah. And if Bama blows him out, then he's definitely gone. But we'll see. I will put my faith in Texas to beat Mississippi. Actually, I'm not going to make that call in that game.
Did I say that one? I think I skipped that one. Sorry, I have Mississippi State, Texas under 44.5. The total on the game. Like, Mississippi State is a good offense and a not great defense.
Okay.
So that I don't think Mississippi State scores a lot of points, but Texas isn't a very good offense, so I don't think they score a whole lot of points. I think that's the best way to play it, is the under. It's a low total, but I'm not sure it's low enough. Total. Yeah. Anyway, go. Sorry.
Valid. Give me Oregon -35.5 versus Wisconsin. I'm going to make sure this is correct. Let's see. Yeah, we're going on, like, this will be the third week in a row that Wisconsin doesn't score, and that'll be rough. Like, if we're going back, we're talking 5 weeks that this team has put up a grand total of 20 points. Like, wow. I expect Oregon to beat this team. So, why are you laughing at me?
No, I just didn't realize it was that bad at Wisconsin. I knew it was bad. I didn't know it was that bad.
They lost.
I'm not laughing at you.
They lost to Iowa 37-0. They lost to Michigan 24-10. They lost to Maryland 27-10. The most points this Wisconsin team has put up is against Middle Tennessee. And then if you take Middle Tennessee out of here, it's 17 points against Miami of Ohio.
Oof.
Like, they've had a hard schedule. You played Alabama. You played Michigan. You played Ohio State. You played an Iowa team. You play in Oregon. It's not going to get any prettier. I think that 33.5 is a high number. But I think that's about right. And I'm hoping that they can get to the 35. And so
you only need 35 to do it, apparently.
Yeah. So, give me North Texas -26.5 at Charlotte. And then give me Miami -30.5 at Stanford. And then lastly,
hosting Stanford, right? They're hosting Stanford.
Are they hosting Stanford? Perfect.
Yeah.
Even better. And then A&M -2.5 at LSU. I think A&M finds ways to win, and a field goal will cover that. So.
That's my lean on that game too. I just don't feel as good about it, so it's not a pick for me. But yes, I think that's the way that goes. Like, in my pick'ems, like where I'm just choosing who's the winner, I'm choosing A&M.
Yeah. Two other games I was considering UVA versus UNC. Although I'm worried that could just be a trap game. And then I had Utah considering it at the 13.5, but you talking about Dan Pierre's injury talked me out of it. So I'm making 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 picks this week.
Nice. All right. We've ran this thing really long.
I blame you.
It's all my fault. It's 100% my fault.
So
it is. I'm okay with that. Like, I'll wear it.
I've done so much talking. I was kidding.
Oh no, I think it's me. I go down the rabbit holes. That's what I do.
We're having fun. Who cares? We can do what we want to do.
That's
We're
right.
not doing this for money. We're doing it for fun.
That's right. All right. Well, thanks for joining me for another episode. Thanks, for your input. I think this was one where it's like, all right, maybe we don't see everything quite the same way. I feel like lots of times we're like kind of on the same wavelength. We think alike.
Yeah.
This week, I was like, oh well, disagreement, whatever. Someday we'll see who's right on some of these, and someday we may never find out on the hypotheticals. But thanks for listening, everyone. We will be back for a week 9 recap and a week 10 look ahead next week, and see you then. Sorry, I took up way too much time, man.
I remember at one point in time thinking like, I think I've